She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy gazpacho.
Forbes could take a lame gorilla, okay?
Right, did you know that Arsenal died?
He's got me buzzing.
Up the top, it's hard to up him anyway.
I'm just not even gonna comment on that. Welcome back to Footy with the boys. A new background for Nick and a new celebration. We will get into that as Arsenal move closer and closer to a certain man who
Nick
does a
travels more than a
celebration
gypsy,
like
bro.
that. He was born with the mask.
It's
Victor
not
Torres.
Anthony Alonga.
It's not Anthony Alonga. We'll tell you that much right now. We will get into a recap of the Club World Cup in the semifinals right now. Fluminense, Chelsea, PSG, Real Madrid. PSG with a thrilling match against Bayern Munich in the quarterfinal there. And of course, we'll talk about what happened in the final. U.S. men's national team versus Mexico. A lot to unpack there. Pochettino, the squad. What happens moving forward for the U.S. men's national team? Before we get into all that, we're not a very serious podcast 99% of the time. We do want to take a moment to say rest in peace to Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva, who tragically passed away in a car wreck just a week or two ago here. So rest in peace to them. Prayers and thoughts to their family. Very tough to see, and been great to see a lot of support that has been coming out, showing how much they loved him throughout the footballing world there. Nick, Mike, any words or thoughts on this before we get going into the U.S. men's national team?
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Sucks. Awful situation.
very, very sad. His last professional goal against Everton, I believe, and it was a worldie.
It was correct.
You salty motherfucker. Just
Saw that
rest in
come up
peace.
in the feed. So sad though. Not much you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just an amazing footballer and seems like an amazing guy as well from everything that's come out. But into the U.S. men's national team, I guess. I don't know how to transition. Oh, God. How do I transition from that? The U.S. men's national team lost in the Gold Cup final to Mexico 2-1. We had a lead. We had a lead 4 minutes in, boys. Chris Richards had put us ahead. Berhalter gave it to Richards to give it his head. Berhalter ball. It worked for us. We were up 1-0 against Mexico. It was always going to be an uphill battle just with the talent gap between these two teams. And Mexico certainly made that very apparent. Just controlled the ball around it. U.S. did as much as they could to stay in their low block and try and defend. But Raul Jimenez with a hell of a shot that just went top of the net. Tim Ream, I'm sure we'll have some thoughts on that later about what he could have done there to step in front. And then, of course, late on, Alvarez being kept on by Alex Freeman gets the winner for Mexico there. It was very much so dominated by this Mexican side. The U.S. were not favored in this one based off the players that they brought for sure. But it had been 6 years since Mexico had beat the U.S. It was a final. You thought maybe it would happen. They had a lead. There were other chances that were very close. Mike, what did you see here? I mean, outshot 16-6, 8-3 on target. Possession 60-40. That's honestly not as bad as I thought it would be. And then
Seriously.
0 corners to 12. And there were a lot of those corners that were awfully given away, where it was just kind of panic from the U.S. What do you see out of this one? Kind of initial thoughts of Mexico 2, USA 1.
Yeah, I was watching first half of this game while driving home from Michigan. Don't recommend doing that. It's a bit dangerous. About crashed my car when Chris Richards scored. Hell of a start to the game. Great ball, magical header. Crazy that CONCACAF doesn't have goal line technology. That's absurd. But for my money, it's across the line. But then the rest of the game, we were on the back foot, pinned in our own half for the most part. It looked like Poch kind of identified that going into the game. We were set up for that, and we were going to try to play outlet passes to Adjuman up top, which was an idea. Unfortunately, his hold-up play is not strong. He's not skilled enough on the ball to really do much to get other guys into the attack, give us time to progress up the field. That was evident pretty early in the first half. We were pinned so deep. I understand getting bodies behind the ball, but if you watch Diego Luna, he was essentially playing left wing back just to try to cover Arvston, who was also very shaky this game, was shaky all tournament, not really a true left back. And that stood out here. I'm not mad at all about this result. Going into this Gold Cup tournament, I was pretty pessimistic about this team, what they would show. We just got battered in 2 friendlies. And they actually showed a lot of fight this tournament. I thought there were some standout performers. I thought the MLS guys played pretty well for the most part. Sebastian Berhalter surprised me. He wasn't perfect, but he played all the minutes and put in pretty good shifts. Diego Luna stood out. And Freeman at right back, I thought was pretty great most tournament. But then you get against a Mexico A side here in the final, and they are that much better. The golf in class was very evident from very early in the game. The MLS guys looked a touch or two slow, and once they went up 2-1 there late in the game, they backed off and gave us some chances, and we actually had some of the ball, but there were too many turnovers. My biggest takeaway from the game, there is some fight in this team. That was our biggest criticism for the longest time, is where the fuck is the fight gone? Where are guys who want to represent the U.S.? I saw a lot of that this tournament, so that's a positive takeaway. And then the other things, what do you think, Nick? What are you going to say there?
Yeah,
they're not going to be the same
guys,
players, though.
I think those guys fucking suck who want to represent the team. The players that we need to see it from didn't show the fight and didn't show up. This is holy cope from the two of you. Jesus Christ. We just got
I haven't said a word yet.
Our asses handed to us, bro. All I'm hearing is like, oh, we weren't favored. Oh, we showed a lot of fight. All the expectations were down. Do we need to remind you that we are less than a year away from a World Cup? And we
did not get our asses handed to us. It took Mexico 18.
You did not watch that game if you don't think we didn't get our asses handed to us.
To beat us. 12 corners they did nothing with.
Dude.
Matt Freese made 5 saves. 2 of them were difficult. And then the 2 goals they score, Raul Jimenez, piece of magic in the box, and then a flick header, poor defending from Freeman, who gets outside of the line and keeps the guy on side. That's a mistake from a 20-year-old right back.
Mexico dominated this game.
Yes, they dominated possession and
no,
but that's what they have to do. But Nick, that's what you have to do when the Golfin talent is that great, is they can control it around it because we can't control it. You don't have Sebastian Berhalter, Max Arvston, Alex Freeman, Patrick Agyemang, especially any chance of possession. It was not happening through them. You had I think the Luca De La Torre, I didn't think was awful at the possession keeping, but I think if you looked at the players that were able to keep possession, you had a golfing class, not just from Mexico and U.S. on a lot of positions, but a golf on the U.S. side where you had Malik Tillman get the ball and there's nobody showing options for him. Diego Luna, options, nobody showing for him. Tim Ream, Tyler Adams, Chris Richards, there's nothing in buildup because nobody's able to show to him. And a lot of that, I will say, is also Luna had to track back so much for Arvston because he kept just fucking sprinting up and missing the fucking ball.
Right.
He was awful in position and kept getting caught out. There were so many breaks that came down the wing because of that. Alex Freeman, I think he's had a lot of bright moments throughout the tournament. Thought he was pretty awful in this one. Couple good moments. He had that good run-in where he almost headed it in, but so many times you were just like, holy shit, he is a young defender just getting absolutely skinned in this one. And yeah, you had Sebastian Berhalter bailing him out a good amount of times, and I guess you could say that's as good as you can do in terms of that if those are the players. But also for the people saying Pochettino had to change the starting lineup and that's the reason we lost and he never changed the lineup, who the fuck are you putting in at left back? John Tolkien? A marginal difference? He's not exactly a world beater each other. Like, they're both kind of ass. Alex Freeman, I mean, he's young. He's going to make the mistakes. He's an up and down player. That's just what it is. You're not changing the keeper out. Matt Freese. Midfield, Luca Della Torre's been that better option. And on the wing, like, if Brendan Aaronson's not his guy, as he's shown, it's just not the guy, and he wants to play a guy that can cut in and be more defensive, then
All right,
fuck, it's Sebastian Berhalter. Like,
let's talk a little bit about his guys. Who are his guys?
I don't think any of these guys are going to be his guys come
Are we
when
sure
everybody's
about
healthy.
that?
I'm pretty
I
positive.
think Diego Luna and Malik Tillman might be his guys in terms of like
How-
whatever. I think
how'd
obviously
they-
the Chris
how'd they
Richards
do?
and Tim Ream.
How did they do this game? Against the only team they played in the tournament. How'd they do?
Not good.
Bad.
No, but
Not
once
good.
again, I think there's no options. Anytime they got the ball, Malik Tillman a few times created something out of nothing. Diego Luna was caught back just defending the entire game. So
I don't think
I
the
don't know.
criticism on Poch should be his starting 11 and how he selected. I think the real criticism all tournament is his decision on when to make subs. It was horrible. He didn't know when to make subs, and he never made effective subs the entire tournament. And maybe that doesn't matter against weaker teams, but it certainly matters against teams that outclass you. There were several times where it was obvious that guys were dog tired, that needed subs either at fullback or on the wings, and he'd let them suffer until 70, 75 minutes before making a change. So he waited too long there. And then when he did make substitutions, sometimes they were confusing as hell. Like Damian Downs and Patrick Agyemang being on the field at the same time makes no fucking sense. They don't connect at all. Neither are particularly good with the ball, and you lose a transitional player. So I don't
they're just
understand
booting it
those
up there. I understood that if you're just booting it up there and you're playing with a 2-striker 4-4-2 in defense with Malik Tillman up there instead, just drop Malik Tillman back and move Damian Downs up there, so you have two larger options to hopefully potentially control the ball.
Damian Downs can't fucking read a ball over the top to save his life. I mean, the one that went into the box when he did a full 180, he wasn't anywhere near the ball.
I mean, because Patrick Agyemang was also just sprinting right with him and then fucked up that chance too.
Exactly.
I think that the problem is that
made no sense.
the substitutions were never going to be good. They were never going to be good because there's not good players on this roster. There's not here comes Gio Reyna off the bench. Here comes a Haji Wright. Haji Wright went out. Yes, the depth is awful of this nation. That's been known.
I despise the take that I've been seeing everywhere, and that I just heard from you guys that this was basically a game of tournament because we didn't have our A team out there. That essentially, put it all into perspective. It's not a big deal. We lost, and we're gonna go play some friendlies and be ready for a World Cup. This tournament was a disaster the second the roster was announced, and nothing that happened on the pitch actually helped me feel any better about this team. Is that fair?
No, I think that's completely
I couldn't feel
fair.
more differently than you on that.
Really?
I think that's a poor stance. Yeah,
Nick, if this is what you're saying,
I think you're a
that
bitch.
this was a disaster because
I don't understand
we don't
that take
learn.
at all. I see that take everywhere, but I don't think there's any reason that.
So what's the positives from this tournament?
My opinion is we don't learn anything. I don't think the tournament really did do anything. I think it is a disaster for U.S. soccer that we have so many players who are out injured. Some of the players who are healthy are deciding not to play so that they don't get injured, which is a way to go about it, I suppose. And then we're missing players in Club World Cup that weren't even playing for their clubs in that. I mean, it was a disaster all around that we don't have the actual team, so we learn absolutely nothing about our actual team playing. Because, Nick, as you're right, I don't feel any better because even if this USA team went out and beat Mexico here, I think you'd say a lot more about Mexico's A team because they brought everybody and they lost to our B team. But once again, that wouldn't be the team that we're playing with in the World Cup. So what would we have learned, really? We still nothing. We don't know how our actual team of all of our best players is going to perform at any point because they're still not showing up. And all we have left now is friendlies before the World Cup. I think it is a wasted Gold Cup. And that's how I feel. That's why I also don't think that people are saying like poach out and all that is ridiculous as well. What more can you expect? The Mexican A team versus our B team, and it was close enough. And I don't feel like that's like fire the guy from it.
That can't be the crush that it falls onto every single time that we talk about this tournament. It just can't be that the only thing is, oh well, we didn't have our full strength squad. That can't be the lesson from this tournament. But
it wasn't even close to the full strength. So that's
And
obviously a factor.
There
What
was,
do we learn from it?
at the very least, 4 starters that I would say would fit into the starting 11 at the World Cup.
Starters.
4.
Who are the 4 starters?
Both center backs, Tyler
Green,
Adams, Malik Tillman.
Richards, and maybe Matt Freese.
I mean, I don't know. I think, yeah, you could argue. I say 3, the Tim Ream, Chris Richards, and Tyler Adams. Malik Tillman has been in and out. I don't know. Matt Freese, maybe. I think both those are maybes.
Great.
But either way,
I think what
still.
the tournament is, you have a young roster, and they had enough fight to make it to the final and take it toe-to-toe against Mexico's best 11. And I think that shows something. Yeah, there's a lot of negatives. Yeah, players didn't show up, but there were a lot of people unavailable through Club World Cup responsibilities and injury. You can't change those things. And if you want to talk about, okay, well, we don't have the roster there and we don't take it seriously, well, that shit falls on the federation first and foremost. So those are the same issues we've always talked about. But to say that this performance makes you feel more pessimistic about the United States men's national team, I think is a really concerning take, because there were breakout performances all tournament. There were moments that were pretty great. And we made it to the fucking final and could have beat Mexico. I mean, one penalty, bad decision.
Oh my God.
And a moment of poor defending.
Don't be that guy.
What do you mean? That's the clearest fucking penalty I've ever seen in my life.
Saying that this game, that they took took Mexico to the very edge, that this game was hanging on the balance, is proof that you didn't watch this full game and you were in a car for a half of this game. Because
Mexico had control. Nick, don't act like this was some blowout that the U.S. never had a chance. It was 1-1. There were so many chances the U.S. could have had. The guy palmed the ball in the box. It doesn't get called. Whatever, however you feel about that, regardless, it was 1-1 for so much of the entire game. The U.S. had a lead in this game, and they had chances after that to take the lead afterwards. Yes, Mexico had significant amount of control in this one, but if the U.S. were on the other side and we had that, I would say we squeaked out a 2-1 win versus the team that we should have beat. That's how I would say it if it was a U.S. team. It was a close game.
Fully in the game.
Mexico was playing right outside of our 18 for what felt like over half of that game.
It doesn't matter.
But that's playing in a low block. It's playing in a low block. It's playing in a low block, though.
Of course it fucking matters, because Mexico dominated that game, dude.
It dominated in what sense?
For that reason. They can pass around the back and we're not pressing. Yes, they are. They are the better team. And we were still close. They were the better team, and we made it close, and it was a close game. Yes, they had a lot more control, but it's a 2-1 game that could have gone either way. If we're being realistic, there were chances. Both sides could have gone extra goals. They should have won. They did win. They were a better team, and it was still close.
Rah, good job, you almost got there, is the exact opposite take I thought I would get from Mike Tracy, which is fucking crazy.
Dude, yeah, I want to win fucking first and foremost, and I think participation awards are bullshit. I agree with you there, but we didn't watch the same game if you're feeling this negatively about the performance. Dude, we were talking about U.S. not being able to progress to the final with this fucking roster when the tournament started. You look at it on a paper, there's nothing to be excited about. They found a way to make it to the final. They took it toe-to-toe. They could have won this game. They put themselves in a position where they could have won this game. A few things go differently. I don't know how you could be this negative.
It
was a 1-goal game, and Patrick Agyemang was the starter. He didn't score shit the entire tournament. One of his goals was just a deflected shot from a different player, and that was his highlight of the tournament. This was an awful roster.
All right, you know what? That's great. You guys, I'll drop it because we got to move on. But you guys want to feel good about this tournament and about the future, because you've come away from this. Just to clarify, both of you come away from this tournament feeling better about U.S. men's national team than you did before.
I don't feel.
No. So
I feel the same.
This doesn't make me feel
waste of a tournament to me. Is what to me. I say I feel the same about the U.S. men's national team. I think maybe marginally worse because we've lost time, but I don't feel anything different about the actual team because this wasn't the team. This isn't the team that's going to show up to the World Cup. There's going to be like 6-7 players out of the 26 that are on this roster that'll be on the other one.
Yeah. I'm impressed with what these 20 guys were able to do in this tournament. I didn't expect anything from them. They exceeded my expectations. If you want me to be upset, I'm going to be upset with the Federation because the Federation doesn't take the fucking Gold Cup seriously. That's on them. They've set that precedent that the Gold Cup doesn't matter. Time and time again, 4 or 5 tournaments in a row, they send MLS guys. They don't bring in the senior players because they don't care about the competition.
They told Pulisic to stay home and post on Instagram. That's what they did.
Do something about it. Fucking call Pulisic out. I mean, if you don't want, if it's that upsetting that he doesn't show up, then show some fucking balls and do something about it. They don't care.
But also as a federation, if Pulisic comes in, does that really change that much with this team if it's just Pulisic and him playing in balls to Patrick Agyemang for him to mistouch 10 feet to the left, 10 feet to the right, not understand what a run is as a striker?
I don't know. This podcast is telling me.
I think a lot of the injuries,
but it doesn't matter to the Federation. They don't care about the Gold Cup. If they cared about the Gold Cup, the star players would show up.
I think this is crazy.
Once again, a lot of it's injury based, and I think it still wouldn't have told us a gigantic amount about this team because of the injuries. I think it would have been nice if Pulisic came and showed that he had a little bit more care about this team. But I still don't think it would all of a sudden make it be like, holy shit, we can take all these revelations away from the Gold Cup. I think we need to just we need a new fucking physio, a new doctor. Somebody make this team fucking healthy. Holy shit. How do we have everybody injured?
This is going to be your take on a home soil World Cup. I can already see it now, and it's gonna infuriate me far more than it is now.
What is going to be my take? That I want my players to be healthy? Yeah, I'm going to want them to be healthy.
You think they're going to be a fully healthy roster, full strength, just all
No, but I'd hope that 25 of them aren't fucking injured. I hope we have at least one of our striker options, have one of our outside back options, have one more at least of our midfield options, some of our wingers. Obviously there's a huge difference between the only positions you have your first choice people are your center back and CDM going into a tournament. Yeah, obviously I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm taking everything from that. That's overreacting. Maybe it would be great for content, but I'm not going to overreact to this Gold Cup.
Shooter, baby. You're just
I'm not going to overreact to being like, oh my God, we're so fucked for the World Cup because Patrick Agyemang is awful. He's not going to touch the national team, hopefully, ever again.
Okay, buddy. I am not saying we are fucked. I am not saying we are fucked because of Patrick Agyemang. I am saying we are fucked because of the disaster that was this World Cup. And that, again...
How is it that big of a disaster, though, that we got to the final loss to Mexico? That was as expected. No? Is that not exactly what was expected out of this team?
And first of all, this is the exact same mentality that we've been calling out for these players.
Is that not the exact expectation for this team with this amount of talent level?
Loving the underdog teams, the USA, the scrappy ones that take them out when the talent is... Yeah. So what? But you're cool with them losing now?
This federation doesn't have that culture.
But this isn't the team we're going to see.
You know what this federation does, Nick? You know what this federation does? This federation puts a Gold Cup final in the United States in Houston, where we don't have an American fan population.
Brother, we didn't have an American population against Guatemala.
69,000 of the 70,000 tickets. They don't promote that. They don't recruit their star players to play, and they don't care about the competition. And then they expect us to go out there and win, but they don't care if it happens. I mean,
when we were looking for a new manager, we said we needed a manager that can get our players to do what?
Show up.
And
care.
And have that dog in them, right?
Yeah.
And this is the last fucking competitive set of matches that we're going to play.
All the dudes who played in this World Cup seem to care. I didn't see a lot.
But you're telling me that none of them are going to the World Cup. So who gives a fuck?
Yes. That's why I'm saying this was a waste of a tournament. It was a waste of a summer, and we said from the second the roster... From the second the roster is released, we knew it was a waste. Yes, it's a missed opportunity. It has been a waste since the roster got released. It's a missed opportunity for sure. It's awful that we didn't get to see anything here.
All we've done are missed opportunities.
Which is why I come away from this tournament feeling worse about this team than I did when the summer began.
Okay, yes. I think marginally worse because of time, missed opportunity, but I don't feel that the performance of I don't feel performance of the team. The performance of the team is going to shift that. Yes, missed opportunity wise, I feel worse. Time wise, yes, I feel worse. The performance of like the players in this tournament, okay. I'm not going to stress over Max Arfston and whatever Sebastian Berhalter is doing out there.
That's a great segue then. Let's talk about the players on this team who are going to be on the World Cup roster, and are we scared about them?
Okay, so what do you mean by that? What's the question?
Let's start with Tyler Adams, because that's the name on everyone's list right now, and I think we have a tweet in there somewhere, Palmer. But to me, I don't think Tyler looked good at all. And here's the tweet from who's this from, Palmer? From MLS Transfers. Shout out to MLS Transfers on X. What I learned this summer, Tyler Adams is not the same player since 22-23. Not sure he ever gets back to his true level post his hamstrings injury. EPL did him no favors.
I think that's
what I would say about that is
massive overreaction.
Yeah.
They didn't watch this.
I don't think he had his greatest game against Mexico, but he is at Bournemouth very, very good.
He's class.
Key player for them. I think he does need other midfielders around him that can be more dynamic with the ball than him. And that's not really what the case was at all with this roster.
I don't think
he's still Tyler Adams. He's never been still
Tyler Adams.
They didn't watch this tournament. The biggest issue with Tyler Adams this tournament, there were two things. Positionally, he was dragged fucking everywhere because neither of our fullbacks knew how to play their position, and the other pivot midfielder got dragged out as well. So he was trying to cover way too much space. And then the other one was he was asked to be in the center part of the field, and he didn't have midfielders to connect with. So
Nick, this tweet also says Ajiman impressed. What the fuck did Ajiman impress other than...
What did Downs do?
I don't know.
Downs played garbage minutes and scored a penalty against Costa Rica.
Yeah, I don't think they were good. I'm saying that I don't think Tyler Adams was good, and I don't think he's going to be the same guy that we once thought he was.
I don't think he was good in the Mexico game. Throughout the rest of the tournament, I thought he was fine.
I'm not that worried about the rest of the tournament. We played against refugees, bro. Like, can we just stop talking about the rest of the tournament? This is the only
but then we're talking about him in Bournemouth. Okay. All right, then you can have that take. Do we have another take that you want to go on for a player here?
Let's go to the other players. Let's go to Malik Tillman, who is probably the next guy, right?
Yeah.
What do we think about Malik Tillman? Do we feel any better about Malik Tillman? A man who came into this tournament very much saying this. Poch said it himself. He's the star man in this roster. He needs to take that opportunity. We've been waiting for him to explode onto the scene in the U.S. Camp. Not a very good final from him either. Flags is going to sit here and tell you that it's because he was isolated. Bada.
I mean,
you can also just look at the performance of the game, though. He was the only one that created chances in this Mexico game. There was no outlet, and he created 2-3 chances dribbling half the entire field. Created a lot of fouls, which is what he just does. He held up the play a lot. He was a lot of the hold up because Patrick Ajiban couldn't be. And he scored 3 goals, 2-3 assists as well. I mean, after this tournament, he was shitting the bed for every other performance, and he came out and he actually performed well in these ones. So I feel like, his stock has gone up. Unless you're just going to say, because we lost to Mexico in the final, every single stock is always down. But
no, I'm going to say because the only good team that we played, he didn't play well. Center back partnership.
I thought
Chris Richards up, Tim Ream down.
I disagree with that. I think both were strong most of the tournament. If you want to criticize Tim Ream for his lack of a tackle on Jimenez in the final, might have an argument there. But
he's just older.
He's still the best passer in our back line by a large margin. I think that's why he's still the starting option next to Chris Richards. He's the only one who did not
look good against the high press in the first half. Mexico's press kind of fell off. They got tired, but neither of them looked good against the high press in the first half. And there was a clear, from our ball playing center back, there was a very easy pass out to Alex Freeman in the first half that made me go, whoa. Because it was clear the trap that Mexico was setting, and they stole that ball, and USA was lucky not to get capitalized on. Which is again why I'm saying Mexico could have. If this is a better team, I don't think Mexico's that great. If we're being honest, if this was a better team, we would have gotten smacked.
Okay, and if the U.S. had a better team, we would have smacked them. But it's not. It's what it was, and it was 2-1. We can say all these if this happened, and then that goes to a tweet. Landon Donovan said,
saying
if Patrick
USA
Ajiman
is
said it was a clinical
Mexico
striker,
is
he'd
crazy.
play at Barcelona. People can say if this, if that. Landon Donovan thinks that Patrick Ajiman's going to Barcelona if he's a clinical striker. And if I'm 6'8" and named LeBron James, I'm in the NBA. But that's just not what it is.
You just use an if as well, though. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk. You just said if we had a better roster, we would smack Mexico. How do you know that?
Yes, and I'm saying you can't just keep saying
We've owned
ifs.
Mexico
That's
for
what
5
that's
years.
exactly what I'm saying. You don't know things. You can't say if this, if that, if this was a better team, this, if we had this. You can't say ifs. It's what it was.
Chris Richards and Tim Ream are still the starting center back duo going forward in my book.
And that's bad news.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
that bad.
I don't think it's great that Tim Ream is in there, but
Strong enough pairing. And if you want to get on Tim Ream for being slow and old, I mean, it looks worse when he's got fucking Arfson at left back who can't play the position and he's being acted track as a 38-year-old. He's still a ball player. He's still a leader. He looked fine all tournament.
Okay, so all of our problems because of the other players brought on the squad. Got it.
I know.
All right.
I agree. I agree with you, Nick, on
That
Tim
seems
Ream. Tim Ream down, and I think Chris Richards was up. I think Chris Richards made a crazy amount of blocks, mostly because he was kind of forced to.
Tim Ream didn't show anything to put his stock down this tournament. That's completely ridiculous.
He didn't do anything to help it though, and he's old as hell and was still misplaying some passes in press. I just don't think it helped his stock, and therefore, because of his age, I think it has to be slightly down. I'm not saying he's awful and should be dropped or anything crazy, but there's that. I think both outside backs. Can we talk about just none of them? Neither of them are really
whatever.
options.
Yeah, they're bad. Whatever.
I thought
My
Freeman
ultimate
was good
point.
most tournament.
Final again against no one. And then
I think
he
he's
looked bad in
extremely
international.
inconsistent at this moment. He's still
You're talking
young,
about a
but I think he's
20-year-old
extremely inconsistent.
playing his first international soccer. I mean, to say
Yes,
it's
but regardless of whether it's his first international or not, he was inconsistent.
he was
You
pretty
can't say in the
all
World
tournament.
Cup. You can't say he made a lot of small mistakes in games that gave up a lot of opportunities. I think he's going to be a great player, but saying he's 20 and it's first tournament.
Next summer, Mike's
If
like,
he's-
he's 21.
if
He's
it's-
only in his
he's
second tournament.
in its first World Cup and he's making small mistakes consistently. Matter if they fucking score off of a mistake he makes or he holds the line that keeps Alvarez onside.
I think he's firmly in the right back rotation for future rosters.
I think in the rotation, I just don't think he's a player that is like, oh yeah, he's him in any type of sense.
Final question that I would like the three of us to answer, in however you would like to, is are we blaming, is that the end of it? We're blaming the roster, or are there deeper problems going on that this Gold Cup helped show us?
I mean, I think we did everything that was expected of this roster and then got to the final and it was scrappy and shitty and you saw just the team fucking sucks. Arfston was awful. The midfield couldn't do jack shit. Every time we tried to go to... he's 6'4". Ajiman is 6'4", and he just falls down. He may be one of my least favorite strikers I've ever seen tried out for the U.S. men's national team. And I saw so many people be like, how the hell is he still starting? Damian Downs has had injury issues throughout the entire camp. Haji Wright went home. Flo Balogun went home. And Brian White is the only other option. That's why. There's no other options.
All right, flag says roster, Mike.
I don't feel that negatively about the roster. I still am taking positives away from this tournament. The main issues I saw were Poch's inability to sub effectively. I've seen that ever since he's taken the head coach job. I've never been impressed with the substitutions he's made, and they've never been timed correctly. So I think that's an issue. And then the big one is, if you think the roster sucks that bad, then we have a serious depth issue because we have injuries, but how many injuries do we have? 15, maybe, and then a few guys unavailable through Club World Cup. If
That's
you
a
go
whole
through
roster and a bench.
some of these guys are going to have to be on the team. Some of these guys are going to have to fill up bench spots or even play starting if guys are unavailable. That's a serious depth issue.
I mean, yeah, I think that's something that you could say for the U.S. is we have a depth issue.
If you can't fill
After
out
this,
a 26, 30-man roster with names that you feel confident in or even somewhat confident in, that's fucking problematic.
I think they're
and we don't, and you're not confident in guys in their early mid-20s who should be in the primes of their career, well, then we should look younger. We should try to get some stars emerging. I thought the best thing about Mexico was a 16-year-old kid. Moras is fucking starting for Mexico. Mexico's notorious for not letting their young talent emerge into the national team. It takes them forever to break through. And we have a 16-year-old playing against us, starting in a Gold Cup final in an A team, and we don't have any of our young talent anywhere to be seen. I mean, the young guys who are on the bench or on the starting team, how many of them are legit young talents? Most of them are going to be MLS careers. That's what it seems like to me.
yeah.
I think
Other than
there
Diego
are
Lunas
deeper
right now, MLS
problems.
is probably leaving.
I think there are deeper problems that are going to end up showing two things. One, I think the roster for this World Cup team is going to be a lot different than what talent would dictate. And I think that's because, one, there is definitely going to be injury, form, or trust issues with any of these players. We saw Poch very clearly this summer draw a line in the sand that he is going to pick players that he believes want to be all in. And he has shown that instead of trying to massage situations or try to get people to buy in, that instead he will just draw a line and he will say to his best player, by the way, no, you stay home. I'm going to ride with these guys. In the last set of competitive matches that he'll have before the World Cup. And every single time under Pochettino that we have had a game that should have been close, that should have been competitive, that should have been anything, we have come out on the losing side. And I think that is a very, 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 very bad sign.
We beat Costa Rica in penalties.
Congratulations.
We beat Guatemala. Powerhouse.
Guatemala,
I
South
think
Canada.
the biggest thing we'll see in regards to Pochettino and who he wants on this roster and all his big quotes about who he wants to be on the team. I saw he had a quote in his presser after the game where they said, "Oh, how excited are you to get back? You know, Dest, Pulisic, Musa, blah, blah," and listing off all these kind of people. And he goes, "Who says that, oh, you have a list? Who says all these players are given to be in the camp? They have to earn it just like everyone else." We'll see how much he's
That's the
actually
right
saying
thing to
that.
say. I mean, that's
Yeah, they have to earn it. I saw people getting upset about
anything.
that, even though it's kind of like we wanted to make people not feel complacent. What will be big to keep an eye on, make sure to keep it locked in here, is September window is the next international window. You'd imagine a lot of these players going through the preseason, doing all their rehab. Most of them, if not all of them, are going to be healthy at that time. Who does he call in then? Because that will be everyone available. See who he pulls in. See what he really thinks of this U.S. men's national team pool. Maybe not as many options as we thought after the summer. A lot of options, though, in the Club World Cup for Real Madrid. Real Madrid with Gonzalo Garcia taking over the striker position for them, scoring left and right in this Club World Cup. I saw a lot of people calling out for a Romelu-type player for Real Madrid, just somebody who can put the ball in the back and that's simple. And I think Endrick may be losing his spot there as a backup striker. Not getting a lot of play time here because Gonzalo Garcia is taking it all and then some.
He's a stud.
In goals. He's going to be, huh? Yeah, but he's going to be taking all his play time.
Oh.
Is what I'm saying.
Not very much to take, eh?
Huh?
There's not very much to take.
I mean, Endrick's is going to be on the outside of the squad. He got a decent amount last season in La Liga. Mbappe also gets the goal. Little 2-0. Respect to him. Dortmund. At the end of that game, though, wild
job.
comeback. Got a goal within a couple seconds, then red card. Almost had a final goal to make it 3-3. Crazy end of that one. Joe Bellingham missing out on playing his brother there. PSG beat Bayern. Crazy close game there. PSG go down to 9 men. And then Dembele ends up scoring the second one right at the death there. So basically 1-0 for the last 10, 15 minutes before that last one. Chelsea beat Palmeiras Estevao against his future team.
Banger.
Scores, looks good. Cole Palmer talks to him after and says, hey, we're going to be playing together soon. And then says, I don't think he understood a word I said. Makes sense. Makes sense. And then the other Brazilian team, Fluminense, beat Al Hilal. Honestly, I thought this one was kind of fucked up to have Ruben Neves and João Cancelo be playing in this one a day before Diego Jota's funeral, just days after his passing. But that is FIFA maybe not thinking the most of what's going on with the players. But hats off to both these teams, non-European, making it here to the semifinal. Fluminense. Thiago Silva also have just loved seeing all the highlight reels of his career come out now, and just everybody appreciating how fucking good he is as a center back. He's been ridiculous for a very long time. I think playing at PSG maybe squandered the propaganda around him, but crazy good player.
He's world class.
Yeah, if you know ball, Thiago Silva is one of the best. One of the best. Might be on his way to Arsenal here, Nick. Gyökeres, whispered to be close to Arsenal here by Mr. Fabrizio Romano. Zubamendi already confirmed, and Madueke potentially on the way as well. What are your thoughts here? I feel like last time we spoke, I said, hey, what's going on? Where's all the movement? Here's the movement. Biggest name in the transfer window that you could possibly be going for. Gyökeres potentially on the way to Arsenal here.
Zubi is my favorite profile of player. We've talked about this before. I love a number 6, and a number 6 that can especially control the tempo of a game. I think is so rare and hard to do and fun to watch. And so, best midfield of the season incoming. Clock it. Zubi, Rice, Odegaard, Nwaneri when needed. I mean, that starting 3 is going to be electric, and I'm very excited about him. Chose he chose his is that a word? He chose his yeah, there we go. He chose his 36 from when he first broke through with Sociedad, so that's kind of see as the squad number. Madueke, I won't care whether it happens or not if the Gyökeres signing fully comes through, which is the talk of the town at the moment. The man is breaking up with his girlfriend. He's paying $2 million of his own wages to get this transfer done. He's not even here yet, and he's already Arsenal through and through, and I love him. And if it happens, it's done. We're winning the league. The drought is over. Everything that we've been needing, Gyökeres represents, and I think it's the perfect signing. I know he's a tad bit older, but if you can get 4 to 5 really, really elite seasons out of him, it's completely worth it. And he's just everything that Arsenal's been missing. Power and pace at that number 9 spot, as well as just a complete fox in the box. You watch him play, he knows, it doesn't even look like he ever picks his head up in the box. He's always looking down, and he always puts a shot that is perfectly placed. It's at the right moment. He just knows how to bag goals. He's a bag man, and he does it at a very, very high level. So, title favorites if that goes through, as well as the Zubamendi signing. Again, Madueke, I actually always like the player. I don't like that we just keep signing Chelsea rejects, but I trust Arteta enough that Sterling was a blip and not the norm.
To be fair, Madueke and Sterling are significantly different players in terms of age and where they're at. We'll look at the Chelsea depth chart later on, but it is ridiculous the players they have. Madueke at PSV, if you want to get hyped, look at those highlights, because holy shit, he was a baller there.
He's good. at Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, Nico Jackson is your striker, missing a lot of chances, and just overall that Chelsea squad that was wasteful with chances. Madueke, certainly still something to be promising in the Premier League here. West Ham rejecting 50 million, though, for Mohamed Kudus from Spurs. Certainly would not want Spurs to have Mohamed Kudus if you're an Arsenal fan. In fact, Nick, I would love for Arsenal to get that. Gikore, Saka, Kudus. Front three would be saucy to watch.
Kudus is saucy, but I do think he's slightly overrated at the.
Yeah, but I just think he's so saucy. I love a saucy player that can go on those dribbling runs. We'll
see
see what happens there. There's been a lot of smoke about Spurs being very interested in him, so we'll see if that one gets past the finish line there. And Chelsea making another signing. It feels like every single podcast this summer we are going to announce a Chelsea signing. Gittins to Chelsea confirmed now. Nick, what are your thoughts on the new front three, or maybe the new front threes is the better way to put it? If we can show this depth chart.
Crazy.
The amount of players that they have that are just good. What the fuck is going on there? They certainly have to offload a good amount of this, no?
Yeah, I mean, Nkunku is rumored to be gone. Madueke, obviously. But man, even then, it's just a lot of names up there. It is a lot
Estevao coming in, Palmer.
I mean, Broja's going to be gone, obviously. Sterling's going to be gone. Mudryk seems to be expelled for the rest of like eternity. Some doping. By the way, what a guy to get the bag for his hometown team, his country in the middle of a war, and then just go do drugs at Chelsea and never have to play for them. I mean, that man has life figured out. But yeah, I don't know. I really like João Pedro as a player. I still don't totally see fit there with Chelsea, especially with the way that they have asked their number 9 to play. I think he's a lot better, dropping in more as a false 9 than he is just being like the main focal point, which it feels like is what Maresca is looking for more. It's the same thing over and over. You like the players, you like the potentials. The price tags are insane, and I don't think it's going to work. It's just too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people there. I don't know how anyone can gain chemistry, how anyone can gain true confidence. I mean, Jesus, training must be a headache. Just the amount of players, the amount of reps that you're not getting. So I'm still very hesitant on this Chelsea project. They got hit with a bit of a fine, I believe, on some financial fair play. Yeah, still hesitant on the squad. Again, good players. I like Giddens. I like actually Pedro and Delap, but too many people.
Yeah, there are 2 strikers being purchased here. Would maybe sign that Nico Jackson is on his way out. There have been rumors about him. Even just at the very bottom of that right wing, Kennedy Pies is an insanely good young player. Estevao is coming in from
this summer.
From Palmer. Yeah. I mean, there's so many players on this team. It is ridiculous the amount of talent that's being put here. But they need
what the fuck?
Some consistency. Yeah, they bought him. He's on like a 7-year contract. He's there for 7 years, brother.
It seems like
people tell me that Disasi was the future.
Brother, every single one of these players have been called the future. Every single one of these players.
Colwell and Tosin are both very good.
It's wild. I mean, Chelsea have spent quite a bit of money, but they're not alone, boys. Newcastle with a £55 million signing of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest. What do we make of this one? This seems good to Nottingham Forest. 55 million here. Is he worth 55 million, Mike?
He was very good last year, but what did Nottingham pay for Man U? Like 12? So, I mean, an absolute flip on their 55. Part. 55 might be a bit high, but they're going to get taxed because they're Newcastle. I think he's a very good player, but a bit overpriced.
I think just if you're Newcastle and you're really trying to go for the Manchester City route, I don't know if Anthony Elanga has the gigantic ceiling of a $55 million player. Like, he's a good player and he's still young, but do you see him being some world beater that 55 million. I don't know. It seems high to me. Is all I'm really saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Seems
not
like
gonna count Crown
Anthony
Prince Mohammed
Gordon
Salman's
and-
pockets, bro.
Nick Murphy,
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes. I think he's an upgrade on what they currently have.
Murphy's still there.
Yeah,
Also, Harvey Barnes is a baller. I wouldn't call Long an upgrade on Barnes.
Harvey Barnes is good, but he has injury issues every year. He did turn up
Yeah.
late last year.
Who's their other left
We'll
wing?
see.
They have another nasty left
Anthony
wing.
Gordon, the rat.
Yeah. I mean,
Rat.
it's good.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
good options.
Alongo will probably play on the right side. That's what he primarily did last year.
I think it is maybe just a Newcastle tax, as you were saying, it's going to be slightly higher than maybe his market value. They didn't have the Kelly Blue book for this one. They had the Kelly Oil Money book.
Slightly used.
Slightly used. But let's get into what will end the day on our Wonder Grid here. Boys, we struggled
talk
last
about
time.
the
We did
signing
this
of the
as a
summer.
crew. Signing of the
Some
summer.
Everton bullshit.
Coming into Nottingham
Everton.
Forest, a certain Igor
Huh?
Jesus, the Botafogo boy.
Igor Jesus from Botafogo. Yeah, he looked good in the Club World Cup, so we'll see what happens there at Nottingham Forest. But him and Chris Wood up top is two physical strikers, certainly.
Certainly.
Getting after. All right. In the Wonder Grid, we have Real Madrid, 10-plus league goals, domestic league champion, and on the vertical axis, we have Atletico Madrid, AC Milan, and Liverpool. Guys, this one doesn't seem too crazy here. Are we speedrunning? Are we just ripping out names left and right?
So we just rip names, bro.
All right. Who wants to pop champagne here? Get us started on the celebration of getting under 10. We're getting 9 this time.
Michael Owen, Madrid, Liverpool.
The who?
Yeah.
Bottom. Michael Owen. I don't think it's gonna be Mike.
What the fuck?
Mike
But
L.
Owen.
Oh, he was just really up there. Stuff. Spelled
AEL.
Michael wrong.
Damn, this guy complains about getting.
It's the second name.
It's spelled Michael, bro.
Can't tell what the fuck you guys are saying, I'll be honest. I think I'm drunk.
What's
Damn,
it say?
16.
Motherfucker doesn't even have a
Damn.
picture.
I thought that was a good pull.
Damn.
Liverpool 10-plus league goals. Fuck it. Fernando Torres.
Okay.
Daniel Sturridge.
Yep, right there, Plumber. Torres,
Oh,
T-O.
Sturridge. I love Sturridge.
R-R-E-S. Second one. Let's go.
10?
All right.
10.
Do we have to go Pulisic 10-plus league goals? Oh, did he have 10-plus league goals or just overall?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
No
Uh-oh. Fuck.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Surely he does.
You got to stake your
I don't know if he
reputation
did.
on this.
Surely he does. dude.
If you guys Pulisic
I'll
and
say,
you miss,
fuck it.
you're fucking off. the
Pulisic.
Oh, please miss.
Whew.
Get in.
Damn, we have 3
I
times.
trust my boy. Yeah.
One of my favorite Brazilians play. Actually, my favorite Brazilian could work too. Played with Kaká. But Robinho. I used to love that guy.
Robinho.
For Real
Domestic
Madrid,
league
Milan.
champion. Oh. Yeah.
Robinh.
He was so much fun to watch.
Dude, he was nasty. Except not at Man City.
What, didn't he have a case? Speaking of cases, we never talked about Thomas Partey.
I don't think that's him.
I think that's it. 2005, right?
To 2020?
I mean, the other options are
Yeah.
2019, 2020, and
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's him. He's probably just in some
some whack league.
small league. That also is 5 years ago now at this point, so.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Six.
Nice.
Domestic league champion,
Liverpool.
Cafu for
Cafu.
AC Milan.
Gafu.
What do you think that's two?
You could go more recent. You could Cafu. You do it.
You go Frank Kessier. You go
Sandro Tonali.
Sandro Tonali. Could
Do Cafu.
go
Fuck it.
Gafu.
Cafu.
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 F you. Haha.
Yep.
This one?
Gotta be.
Yeah. 1994.
What?
1%.
Ooh,
Take that.
1%,
That's crazy.
1%.
It's our first poll.
Liverpool domestic league champion Joe Gomez.
Jamie Carragher. Oh.
Jamie Carragher.
Yep, top one.
Joe Gomez.
Those.
Or I like to call him Jomez.
Should we go Thibaut Courtois for the Madrid?
Yeah.
It's going to be so obvious, though, right?
I don't know how to spell.
Thibau.
It should be just that.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
there we go.
The first name. Thibaut Courtois.
Do we want to do that?
I can't think of other ones right now, so.
Yeah, we just got to be
Do you
quick.
have another name?
Doing it.
Okay, go for
Quickly?
it.
Do you have another name
I don't-
quick?
No.
That's going to be like 90%.
30.
35 is not bad.
Tag
Who are we
plus
missing on
8
that?
goals. Diego Costa.
Luis Suarez. For either of these.
Top one.
7.
Luis Suarez.
Juan
Who?
Fran. Jose Jimenez. Diego
Don't put
Godin.
Luis Suarez. He's going to be high. Don't put him.
Diego Godin.
Oh, yeah, Godin. I love that guy.
Godin is just a goat.
That's my only Uruguayan I ever liked.
I hated
I
to play
was
against him, but fuck, he was so good.
Actually, I kind of liked, what's his name? Floran.
Did he
Forlan,
retire
Diego
before I thought he
Forlan.
No. Yeah, he won it with Atletico.
Yeah, he definitely. Godin.
Immaculate.
102.
102.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Little speed run.
Good little speed.
Little speed run for the boys.
Little speed run for the boys.
Thibaut Courtois was the top answer in that one. Okay.
Wait, can we go to that
Yeah,
list,
wow.
actually? To the top left list?
28. That's a lot. One front.
Morata? I don't
Oh,
know.
it's
Yes.
That's just a bunch of
Taylor
Spanish
Hernandez?
fuckers.
Diego Hernandez played 0 games.
Oh, excuse me.
Nice.
How does he
How does that count then? Yeah, what the fuck?
Jose Antonio Reyes. Yeah. Oh, Marcos
Llorente.
Llorente.
Played 0
Yeah.
games for both. You can't count that. We should have
Yeah,
gone
my bad.
Alvaro Morata. That should have been on the top of our head.
Regulian. The
Regular.
Tottenham Hotspur man.
All right.
Solari.
Reguilon.
All right, well. What a run there. 102 to end off this podcast. A lot of heated debate about the U.S. men's national team. Not a lot of heated debate about the Club World Cup. And then some more talk about the transfer antics of some Premier League clubs. So let us know what you're thinking about all that in the comments below. We have a big summer ahead of us still, a lot of preseason. So we're going to get into a lot of topics we already have planned out. But if you want to see something, let us know in the comments below, and we will be sure to maybe think about pondering about getting to that. We'll see about it. We have our own ideas, and we're
We gotta
smart
do a
than you
mailbag,
anyways.
bro. Leave some questions.
We'll do a mailbag if we get enough questions. So put some stuff in the
Please.
chat for us,
Please talk
and we'll
to
get
us.
to it. Mike, Nick, final thoughts. Nick, why don't we start with you? As Mike always has some great parting words.
USA is cooked. Arsenal aren't. Victor Gyokeres up the Reds. Up the Gunners, baby.
Shout out
words
the World
needed.
Cup, baby. Shout out the Club World Cup. Shout out us. We're the premier USA podcast going into the 2026 World Cup.
Facts.
We talk shit. We know ball.
Facts.
We
Well,
have-
some of this.
We have this team's best intentions in our interests. We
Best
want them to succeed.
intentions.
Something like that. I'm very tired. Rest in
I
peace,
don't.
Diogo
Just for
Jota.
what it's worth.
his brother, Andre Silva. Massive loss in the world of football. Something we always get rocked to hear. Very, very sad day.
Dude, you gotta stop talking. You're getting rocked.
What does that mean?
It's just so hard
Play
to
the
deal
music,
with.
Palmer.
Shut the fuck up,
And
Jay.
we're bringing it back up.
Goodbye.
Hey, goodbye.
Goodbye. GG's, boys. Peace.
Thanks for joining. You said getting rocked.
I stay getting rocked, though.
It's just so hard to deal with. He's been thinking about it all night.
Good night.